Broadcasting live. It's America's longest running talk show on computers. It's Computer America, bringing you the biggest names in technology with guest interviews, new products, and your emails. Listen live at computeramerica.com on any device around the world. Email the show at live@computeramerica.com or find us on social media. Be sure to check out our website for contests, giveaways, show notes, live video stream, podcasts, and more. You're listening to Computer America.
Hello and welcome everyone into the Computer America Show. We are the nation's longest running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers and technology turned podcast. Everyone, how you doing? Welcome into today's program. So today on the show we have headlines, and we have a number of headlines, everything from policy to hacks, a lot of hacks going on. Obviously with the holidays coming up, there's a lot more people online who are shopping, who are checking emails, getting deliveries, and just all around clicking more links, and it seems to really be biting people in the butt. Well, okay, so we have hacks, policy, new products. We have some gossip around the tech sphere, where for instance, we have the story about how you have to pay money to use your key fob, and that's a bit of an exaggeration, but we're going to get into that and really break down all the headlines for you so that you don't have to. Everyone, we hope that you had a great weekend and you are ready to head into Computer America once again, computeramerica.com. This is where you'll find everything, including past shows, future shows, any kind of show notes. If you want to find our podcast, wherever podcasts are heard, you can simply search computeramerica.com or go on over to our website, and right there in the directory, you'll find it very simply. While you're there, be sure to check out the live video feed, check out social media links, and give us a like, give us a follow. We do giveaways and contests, and that's likely the best way to reach out to us if you'd like to connect to us personally. So with all that being said, thank you once again for tuning in. We hope that you're having a great day. Why don't we go ahead and get started with computer and technology news, brought to you by Computer America. So I think that for our first story, let's go ahead and talk about, I don't say this often enough, the Prime Minister of India. He's seems like a nice gent. I have no personal opinion on Indian politics one way or another. Well, I do have this to say that his Twitter account seemed to have been hacked, at least momentarily. This happening yesterday, where someone briefly compromised the Indian Prime Minister's Twitter account. And they say that this is the latest attempt to hijack a major politician's social media profile. You can see the gentleman there. And they even have a picture, which we can actually go ahead and throw up on the screen here. Let's see, we can do this, and perfect. Okay, so here's the tweet, and you can see that there, where, people aren't done hijacking major politicians' Twitter accounts for financial gain, and TechCrunch reports an intruder temporarily seized control of Indian Prime Minister's Narendra Modi's Twitter account on December 12th, and saying that the attacker tweeted a bogus claim that India had adopted Bitcoin as legal tender and pointed users to a thankfully broken scam website. The post was at odds with India's well-known disdain for cryptocurrency, which I'm actually curious. Price of Bitcoin. Okay, so, there's always something. Okay, and I'm betting December 12th, so about there. India is against Bitcoin as our most major economic ones where the government has a strong influence on the country's economy, because it's decentralized. They don't have control over it. They can't, kind of track and trace and tax as well as they would their regular currency. And instead, this person who had hacked the Prime Minister of India's Twitter account had mentioned that India has officially adopted Bitcoin as legal tender. The government has officially, so second officially, that way you know it's very official, bought 500 Bitcoin and is distributing them to all residents of the country. Hurry up, finger pointing emoji to a broken website where they were quote-unquote giving away 500 Bitcoin. This is very, very stereotypical of a Bitcoin scam. And okay, so normally it's like, hey, send us 0.01 Bitcoin and insert random famous and or rich person, usually Elon Musk, will send you in return 0.05 Bitcoin. And it's this whole scheme where they try to get people to send cryptocurrency to then, hey, they steal it and no one's the wiser. None of this, though, was the case for Elon Musk, for the Prime Minister of India. Doesn't matter. The point is, they try to get as many people with as many followers as possible, and then they put out these really hokey, really poorly constructed cryptocurrency scams. And I'm glad that, first of all, the link was broken, so it didn't even work. But yeah, there was really no chance of this actually working. I would be surprised if anyone actually sent the money to them. Now, they didn't say much about the incident. It acknowledged that Modi's account had been briefly compromised, but that it contacted Twitter and immediately secured the politician's profile, and saying it's not certain who's responsible. And they said that some speculated that the attackers exploited a website flaw. This wasn't a large-scale campaign like the one that took down Joe Biden, Elon Musk, and other figures. It's chiefly concerning that someone breached Modi's account in the first place. World leaders are expected to have strict security, and Twitter even has a system for protecting high-profile users against attacks. While those measures aren't foolproof, they theoretically reduce the chances of incidents like this. And yeah, this is a world leader with a lot of with a lot of draw. And I think the reason that this didn't go more poorly is because they, maybe the link was broken, so they tried to take down the tweet really quick and put up a new one. And in that intervening time, they, the account they regained control of that account. But this could have gone a lot worse. Luckily, every time this happens, it's always some kind of Bitcoin cryptocurrency scam, so it couldn't have been much, much worse. But by and large, yeah, could have definitely gone worse. So India, not for Bitcoin. It is not the official cryptocurrency of the country, and I think a lot of people easily recognize that that was not the case. And Bitcoin, by the way, I think on news of that, or at least, thinking that that was the case, went up like, 0.5% or 1% or something like that. And now Bitcoin is, of course, getting a lot of bad press because, yet again, it's another scammer's preferred way to receive money, which is just kind of bad publicity for Bitcoin. So there you go. It's currently down. Okay. So there's that story. Story number one. Story number two. We can go ahead and how about, we could keep with the same theme. Instead, okay, how about this one? This one from the BBC, and I heard a little bit about this from Ars Technica. One of the writers there has a very good grasp on what this is and tried to alert people early on how big of an issue this was. But we found this story here, and it was saying that a flaw prompts 100 hack attacks a minute, security company says. And it's a very severe security flaw. And, we don't really see a lot of these often, but when they do come out, generally it's something that is very, very base, something very critical to the infrastructure of the internet. So in this case, Check Point said it had seen attempts to exploit the vulnerability in over 40% of corporate networks globally. One U.S. official said that the security flaw, Log4shell, all one word, posed a severe risk, with companies warning it was being actively used by criminal groups. Fixes have been issued but need to be implemented. Popular applications and cloud services have been affected. And this is always the case. This is why update those very annoying little security patches and don't just push them off until the next major UI update. Security patches are hugely important. And they said that written in programming language Java, Log4j, the code containing the flaw, is used by millions of computers running online services. And honestly, I thought Java was dead, but I guess a lot of backend still uses Java, even though JavaScript was famously pulled support from by most major browsers. But still, in the last 4 months, it has been downloaded 84 million times from the largest public repository of open source Java components. And and saying that the ease with which hackers could exploit the vulnerability was akin to someone figuring out that mailing a letter into your post box with a specific address written on it allows them to open all the doors in your house. Yeah, that's a big one. It's a 0 day, and unfortunately, it's been a 0 day for 4 days. So that makes it 0 plus 4 days. Like they said, they already have a fix for it, but until they actually implement, and let's face it, some of these computers, some of the backend for these companies will never be updated. Be it in healthcare, finance, whatever, some of these computers will never be updated, and this will be a continuous effort by companies to reduce the impact of this vulnerability. Words such as critical and emergency are often bandied around by cybersecurity people when a major flaw is discovered, but in this crisis, another word has stuck out: trivial. According to CrowdStrike, the weakness everyone is trying to fix is trivial to exploit. Often when a vulnerability is found, there is a little bit of time to fix it, but in this case, it's very, very easy. And that is definitely the case with a lot of the vulnerabilities that we talk about here on the show, and why I'm kind of like, not that big a deal. Like some of them, like, Afterimage and Ghost and whatever, these vulnerabilities, you need like physical access to the computer, and you need to have like a laboratory setup that you can inject code in and, have a second system ready to go that can do all this. Or you need someone to click on something, which is getting harder and harder for the bad guys to do, is just get people to click on things. I mean, like, generally it's fairly hard to get these, things kind of up and running. But in this case, or, very sophisticated, but in this case, seems like it's super simple, saying that for the average person, there is not a lot that we can do. Make sure your apps and software are up to date, and send thoughts, prayers, and hugs to the IT teams around the world trying to fix this problem. I definitely heard one writer kind of mention that the best thing that you can do is send messages to your major providers and ask them, how's it going? Are there any updates? Make sure that you are up, keeping my information as safe as possible on the back end. They're saying that researchers at Chinese technology company Alibaba discovered the flaw last month, but it gained a widespread public attention after being found affecting some sites hosting versions of Minecraft using Java. Before the flaw was made public, the Apache Software Foundation issued a fix for the problem, rating the problem a 10, the highest level of seriousness. And Cloudflare chief told The Verge that he had seen only two other issues of similar severity in the past 10 years. That kind of gives you the idea that, one of the highest people, the people that know what's going on, this is like it. Like that's, that is as bad as it gets. Now, they're saying that this is an urgent challenge. U.S. Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency Jen Easterly also stressed the urgency of the situation, saying that, quote, to be clear, this vulnerability poses a severe risk, end quote. Microsoft researchers said that they've seen hackers using Log4shell to install malicious software that mine cryptocurrency, steal passwords and logins, and extract data from compromised systems. This is a big one. This is certainly one of the bigger ones. And again, like a lot of other flaws out there, especially when it comes to things like ransomware, the fix has been out there. The patch is done, ready to go. It's more so a problem of, just you got to update. You have to update the system. And that's the hard part. So there you go. Okay, that was story number 2. Story number 3. And maybe we stick with the hackers because we have a couple of fun stories. Let's see. Not that one. Trying to see if there's one that really sticks out. Okay, we're going to stick with the hackers because this will be the last one, and then we'll move on to other topics. But speaking of hacking, $140 million. Would you be happy with that? Well, I hope the hackers are, because they stole $140 million from users of crypto gaming company Forge. Not quite familiar with what they do, but in the latest hack targeting cryptocurrency investors, hackers stole around $135 million from users of the blockchain gaming company Forge. The hackers stole the private keys to access 96 wallets, siphoning off 4.5 million PYR, which is the token that Forge uses in their ecosystem. And their main business involves creating games such as Verge, which is described as an MMORPG, and a card game called Berserk. Both titles, like pretty much all blockchain games, appear chiefly designed as vehicles to buy and sell in-game items linked to NFTs using PYR. And that's the part that always kind of bugs me, is that, man, NFTs, like, it's not, like, the possibility of a blockchain tied asset could be so much fun. But man, the games are all around the money, the currency, the how much something is worth, the scarcity, the rarity, how much of an investment is this thing? Instead of it being an actual fun topic and idea, it's just mainly, hey, this is an investment. You play this game hoping to make money. Which, let's face it, that's gambling. That's just gambling. In crypto, compromising someone's private key is a definitive game over because it gives complete control of the funds to the corresponding address on a blockchain. Yeah, you do not want to lose your private key. Your public key is, very, very common. That's like your username that everyone can read. But then your private key is your password, and you don't want to lose that, because once they obviously have both, they have everything. Saying that, so they have a statement from, so Forge announced the Twitter attack, saying that over 4 million PYR has been stolen from users' wallets. It was premature to say that this is wallet management service Venly's end. We simply don't know the cause. All funds stolen will be replaced once we've understood what has happened, and no words can do much right now. We know that, the company wrote on Twitter. So yeah, just over the past couple of month or so, hackers have made away with about $400 million worth of cryptocurrency. It's pretty bad. So on Monday, the company sent a tweet that it had already refunded the majority of the stolen PYR and claimed that it had isolated all tokens stolen on these centralized exchanges, saying that those who know VF history knows this just makes us stronger. Which I don't understand how being hacked and losing a lot of credibility helps the cause, but yeah, there you go. I guess by isolating or, kind of tagging, saying that this is one of the stolen cryptocurrencies, and then kind of say that, hey, this transaction is not valid because it's using one of the stolen items. Sounds like they could really use the benefits of a centralized oversight kind of deal versus the decentralized nature of cryptocurrency. But yeah, you live and you learn, and or In the case of NFTs and cryptocurrency, you never do. But here we go. Let's see. So there's that story. This one's funny. Get ready for this. Sex and the City. It's a TV show, fairly popular, recently revived, and check this out. I can only imagine Peloton was a little excited to know that a Peloton was going to be showcased in the new premiere for the Sex and the City reboot. Well, turns out that a scene depicting, and spoilers here if you're big into the next iteration of Sex and the City, tune out for the next 5 minutes. But yeah, they're saying that a scene depicting Carrie's husband, Mr. Big, dies of a heart attack soon after he finishes a 45-minute Peloton class on the company's bike. Peloton worried viewers might think that the bike was responsible, and not just because the show might hurt sales. The company's stock price plunged between December 9th and 10th, and it didn't get much better by the weekend. In a statement, Peloton's health and wellness advisor argued that Mr. Big's death likely occurred despite the bike, not because of it. Big lived an extravagant lifestyle that included drinking, smoking, and a steak-filled diet, and he'd even had a cardiac incident in the 6th season of the previous Sex and the City. If anything, Dr. Steinbaum suggested Big's writing might have helped delay the heart attack. So yes, someone just finished a 45-minute workout on the Peloton, got off it, and promptly died. And there you go. Not a good look for Peloton, and actually it created a bit of a PR emergency, as the title suggests. Peloton said it was caught off guard, and they had confidentiality reasons that they could not disclose the role Peloton would play, but I'm sure that they would have not greenlit the use of a Peloton if they said, oh yeah, one of our characters needs to die due to a piece of due to their exercise regimen using your equipment, and yeah, that would have been a no, but they did it anyways. So obviously this likely won't significantly dent Peloton's sales. Still, this probably isn't the publicity the firm wanted, as it grapples with a treadmill recall and stiffer competition from rivals. And there you go. So good luck with that. I know that Peloton has, I think it's their treadmill, that had to be recalled because it didn't have proper child safety guards, and a baby was killed, being near the treadmill, or I should say being killed by the treadmill. But pretty funny stuff. It's, and by and large, I think they're right. This won't have any significant impact on the sales of Peloton, but still, there you have it. Okay, how about we go ahead and talk about Toyota. This is the big story running around today, and I think it's fairly not justified. So I'll admit, I've not been keeping up on the latest car tech. I knew that you could, through apps in your phone or maybe from a key fob, start your car preemptively. So if it's cold outside, you can hit a button, everything will start heating up, the engine will start, so that the car is comfortable once you get into it. You don't have to go out into the cold and start your car. Looks like there's that feature from a key fob. Well, looks like Toyota is going to make you pay, to start your car with your key fob. Personally, I have no idea if this is a standard feature or not. I know that you have to pay some kind of fee to do that remotely through an app or a computer. I know that even if you don't pay Toyota in this one, and this is why I think it's a little unfair, it still operates as any other key fob. It can unlock, it can pop the trunk, it can lock the car, it can, do like an SOS blaring, help I'm being stolen kind of thing. It does everything a regular key fob can do. But it's the connected service that is packaged through the, and this part gets a little weird, but it's packaged through the audio services. That lets you turn on your car remotely using just the key fob, not your connected phone or anything else like that. Okay, Okay, so the reason why it gets a little weird with the audio package as well is that, that includes things like Audio Plus, Premium Auto, which, free trials of different things. And some of the versions of the car that you need this, that you need the service to activate the key fob remote start feature, they don't even have some of the audio packages available to those models of cars. And yeah, a little bit of miscommunication there, but still. They mentioned that this was first spotted on Reddit, where the original poster added a link to Toyota's remote connect marketing material, which you can see up here on the screen if you're watching the video portion. Yep, you can definitely see that there. And they're saying that vehicles equipped with Remote Connect have key fob compatibility for remote start. And of course, there's a bunch of little citations there. Audio Plus vehicle functionality, so using the key fob to remote start my Toyota, press the lock button on the remote, press it a second time within 1 second, press it and holding it for 3 seconds. This will start the engine. I'm actually curious what these citations are. Let's see. So things like a key fob required an active data control module. Up to 6 people can link their accounts to Google Home for personalized responses, Android, Google, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Man, that's a whole bunch of legalese that I don't want to go through. But still, okay, so it was found on Reddit. They found the PDF. You do need an active account with them to do that kind of thing. Toyota confirms that the drive that users will in fact have to pay for remote start when the free trial ends. The pamphlet linked to in the post details the key fob's remote start feature, as well as the relation to the Audio Plus and Premium Audio packages. And that costs about $8 a month or $80 a year to use what I think many people would consider a fairly standard part of the key fob. Now, as the Jive points out, it looks like some users have been aware of this for years. In a thread dating back to 2019, users discussed the key fob's remote start functionality. Some users claim their key fob is still able to start their car remotely, but of course, it's only for Toyotas 2018 and newer, so yeah, a forum post from 2019, maybe their free trial was not over yet. Typically, we see things like this in more expensive cars, BMW, Mercedes, what have you. However, BMW still does let you pay to unlock new features in your car in a way that's been described as in-car microtransactions. The all-electric Porsche Taycan has a similar system dubbed the Functions on Demand, which lets drivers purchase new optional features for their Porsche, like active lane keeping or dynamic light system plus, meaning that Cadillac charges users $25 a month after the end of the free trial for its hands-free driving mode, Super Cruise, which has been temporarily discontinued in newer Escalades due to the chip shortage. So yeah, cars are getting more like phones, and let's face it, they're going to follow success. They see the success of microtransactions in cars and services. Subscription model is hugely important to a lot of these car companies, which is kind of weird to me. You sell a product that is $30,000 to $50,000 to $80,000 in a lump sum, and you're still looking for a way to make $25 a month. Don't get me wrong. I guess when you sell 1 million cars, hey, that's a fairly substantial revenue stream. But yeah, I feel like it shouldn't. These are high-end pieces of, they're high-end transactions. You're paying a lot of money for them. It makes very little sense why it wouldn't come with all the functionality kind of unlocked. Honestly, if you want a finger to point at someone, maybe it would be Elon Musk and Tesla. They had the idea to lock range behind paying different fees. Even though it was the exact same car, you could pay an extra $5,000 to unlock the extended range of your vehicles. and which is all done remotely. You don't even have to bring them into a service station. You just pay the fee, and hey, they unlock the full functionality of the car that you already own. Little things like that can really start to get under people's skin, and I would love to see kind of a change where, you know, the full abilities of a car, if you purchase that thing, then everything that car can do, you have by default. But they are providing a service, system as a service. And of course, the software for the car is ever updated. So you got to kind of balance it. I would love if cars came with all the functionality and that was the end of it. But let's face it, we're also dealing with a time where cars are being updated. They are being maintained to some degree on the back end by these car companies. So they want to make sure that they can keep that revenue and keep that justified. But yeah, not the biggest fan of all of that, but still. Okay, how about this? Little update here, if you didn't know. If you were one of the few people that were able to get up into space, well, looks like there was a program that, hey, I guess only very, very few people knew about, where the Federal Aviation Administration, they were giving out small pins. They end its commercial space astronaut wings program today. And they, and they even have a complete list, and you can see this here. We'll put up on the screen, everything from 2004. And what this really was anyone who was deemed an astronaut would get these wings. You know, they're a little brass pin, and you can see them here, commercial space transportation, little brass wings, and it'll be a pin that people could wear on their uniform or anything like that. And anyone who made it into space was awarded these for, you know, kind of continuing the idea that people need to get to space kind of in a privatized way, that it doesn't just need to be NASA, but, you know, strides for the private sector to get into space. And so you had everything, you know, this going back to 2004, and about 24 individuals have received these things. 2004 was the first one that was awarded to Mike Melville, and they said that he was Flight 15P, Spaceship One, and yeah, he was the first one to receive it. And then the next one went out 2004 as well, 2014, 2018, 2019, and then just recently, you can see that the majority of the entries here. Let's see, a good Sir Richard Branson, of course, makes it on to the list. And then the next two pages are for 2021, and it's everyone on the recent Blue Origin and Virgin Galactic and SpaceX flights. Essentially what they're saying is this was to promote and recognize people furthering human space flight. And now that we have what is essentially commercialized spaceflight, instead of continuing on with the, this idea, they're just discontinuing it altogether. Because let's face it, 24 individuals have gotten the wings, and 15 of those got them this year. Starting January 1st, 2022, those who would normally qualify for the wings will instead only be recognized on the website. So they mentioned that an ego trip 50 miles up is arguably substantially different from spending time on the International Space Station or landing on the moon. So while it might gall some of these two guys who already have everything, claiming a soon-to-be extinct bit of space travel memorabilia, keep in mind that it's one of many similar baubles. Astronauts still can be awarded different, arguably nicer looking wings from each branch of the military in 3 different degrees. NASA also produces non-military pins for astronauts and a separate pin for civilians who take part in missions. If anything, the refusal to gift knickknacks to scientifically pointless exercises in polluting the environment suggests humankind's esteem for real space travel remains untarnished. This author, who is this? Brian Menegas. He's that's fair. That is a fair and scathing criticism. I like that a lot. That's good stuff. Okay, so there's that story. Cover this one real quick. Not a lot to it because unfortunately, fortunately, if we're talking about scathing reviews, it hasn't happened yet. But Apple is about to become the world's first $3 trillion company. Remember, just a couple of years ago, there weren't even $1 trillion companies. Apple was flirting with that for quite a while with the 800 billion mark. And now not only has it crossed the 1 trillion threshold back in August 2018 and the 2 trillion threshold in August 2020, it is now heading quickly towards the $3 trillion mark. Well, and it's so close, but I think it fell today, so it might have to wait a couple of days. But still, for a company to be worth $3 trillion, man, let's just say that Warren Buffett was right about that one. Now, they mentioned that Apple shares are up more than 35% this year alone. The company has benefited from booming demand for the new iPhone 13 and other older models, as well as subscriptions to its streaming services. Sales surged nearly 30% to more than $83 billion in Apple's most recent quarter, which ended in September. The company still has a whopping $191 billion in cash as well. Man, that's a lot of money. But before long, Apple may have some company in the $3 trillion club. Microsoft is now worth $2.6 trillion, and Google is worth about $2 trillion as well. And then, of course, you have Amazon, which is worth about $1.7, and Elon Musk Tesla is worth about $1 trillion, which honestly blows my mind that Tesla is worth $1 trillion, whereas Amazon, which, let's face it, almost controls our entire lives, is only worth $1.7 trillion. Admittedly, all of these numbers, absolutely batshit crazy. But hey, it's a sign of the times and the extreme monstrous market cap that these companies get. I'm sure that there's a lot of financial mumbo jumbo behind it. It just seems like too much. And that's from someone who is fairly uneducated about the whole reason why it has gotten this way. So there's that one. Let's go ahead and continue on here to... Okay. We have two more stories. I think both are worth talking about, but we'll start with the good, and then we'll end with the bad, and then, hey, that'll be the headlines. Thank you so much for tuning in for that. But let's go ahead and wrap this up, saying that the new IBM, and I always love looking at new chips, but still, new IBM and Samsung transistors could be key to super efficient chips. There you go. And they say hello to the vertical transport field effect transistors. It was on Friday with Ralph Bond, where we were talking about the invention 50 years ago of the transistor itself. And now we're looking at, truly we have come a long way with transistors in general. And now, hey, we're refining it once again. They're saying that IBM and Samsung claim they've made a breakthrough in semiconductor design. On day one of the IEDM conference in San Francisco, the two companies unveiled a new design for stacking transistors vertically on a chip. With current processors and system-on-chips, transistors lie flat on a surface of silicon, and then electrical currents flow from side to side. By contrast, the vertical transport field effect transistors sit perpendicular to one another and current flows vertically. According to IBM and Samsung, the design has two advantages. First, it will allow them to bypass many performance limitations to extend Moore's law beyond IBM's current nanosheet technology. More importantly, the design leads to less wasted energy thanks to the greater current flow. They estimate that these transistors will lead to processors that are twice as fast or use 85% less power than chips designed with the current transistors. IBM and Samsung claim that the process may one day allow for phones to go a full week on a single charge. They say it could also make certain energy intensive tasks, including crypto mining, more power efficient and therefore less impactful on the environment. And when they say things like things can go a full week on a single charge, that simply means that, especially if that 85% value is correct, you're looking at 10 times the battery life doing the exact same processes. It's not that battery life gets any better. It's not that performance gets any better. It's just that efficiency gets that much better. And that's a huge part of just so much that we do in society is just how efficient we use the energy that we can already store. So IBM and Samsung haven't said that they plan to commercialize the design. They're not the only companies pushing beyond the 1 nanometer barrier. Intel also finalized the design for the angstrom scale chips, and they are designated as Intel 20A if you like to check those out, and the ribbon FET transistors. And the ribbon FET is what I was thinking about. It's very, very similar. If these are looking to stack them vertically, I can go ahead and pull them up on the on the video portion. You can see this here. They're also stacked vertically as well, and that seems to be the way. It's not 2D flat surfaces, but rather very, very, very tiny 3D stacked surfaces. So yeah, you can see the difference there. Instead of flowing left to right, it will also flow vertically as well, and that's super important for beating Moore's Law. Moore's Law is that ability to keep pushing technology at its current pace. Like everything just gets twice as fast, twice as efficient every 2 years. And, in some cases even faster than that. We need to, or we don't really need to, but man, it's so nice to be able to stick to that twice faster, better, more efficient kind of benchmark that we've been hitting for the last 30, 40 years. So there you have it. Let's hope that they can do that. And by the way, there's a bit of an update saying that IBM has clarified that VTFET will help it expand beyond its existing nanosheet technology, not necessarily to chips denser than 1 nanometer. It also noted that it could have extreme improvements on performance and battery life, but not both. We've updated the article accordingly and apologize for the error. So there you go. But yeah, it's mainly it seems like they would be interested in battery life, and for so many applications, battery life is a huge, is a huge consideration. So there you have it. Okay, and the last one. Sorry to end on this, but couldn't really find a better way to bring this up. But looks like when Bungie was talking about improving workplace culture a couple of months ago, because obviously Activision Blizzard has been in the headlines, getting all of the bad publicity. Well, Bungie tried to get out ahead of it and say that, hey, we're making significant workplace changes. We're improving and fostering a productive and incorporate more people, diversity viewpoints into our workplace and improve our workplace culture in general. Well, that wasn't just paying lip service. It was actually just speaking to some of their own internal issues that I guess that they were working or trying to work through, saying that the CEO of the company mentioned an apology letter, and not going to read it verbatim, but essentially saying that Bungie has its own slate of issues as well. And in one case, there is a reporter from IGN who spoke with 26 current and former Bungie employees about its work culture over the last decade. They painted a complex picture of a studio struggling with deep roots of a too familiar toxic culture, but that's trying slowly and perfectly to change. And they even mentioned one example of a lead story designer for Destiny that got so angry and upset with people, quote unquote, ruining his creative vision of the game that he picked up a chair and flung it at a window, which you can imagine that in your workplace. I'm sure it wouldn't stand, but also it would be a little traumatizing, saying that, oh, I definitely shouldn't get on this guy's bad side, otherwise I'm going to get a chair upside the head. On top of that, the individual reportedly stayed at the company for several years after the incident until he left and was later hired to do contract work for Destiny 2. The report also notes many employees wrote letters to Parsons begging him to intervene in a majority of workplace issues, and he reportedly never responded to those pleas. And so Parsons mentioned that Bungie would look into these and try to respond to them with integrity. And after reiterating the studio's commitment to the reform and announced, they sent a letter. The letter turns to Bungie's recent hiring efforts, where they don't give any kind of like past representation of minorities and other people and groups within the company, but they mention that, hey, we're doing better. So you gotta kind of take them as word for it. Still, while sexual harassment scandal at Activision Blizzard has dominated the headlines, the IGN report underscores toxic workplace across the gaming industry, which with Activision Blizzard looking to unionize, I'm sure that a lot of other places are thinking about the exact same thing as well. It's not just an Activision Blizzard thing, and that's not saying in a way to defend them. It's that video games have traditionally been very male-dominated, and it's certainly shifted. Now anyone, regardless of their background or status or whatever, plays video games. But it definitely has its roots in those who are best known in the industry, who have started studios. Not saying that all of them are part of a toxic frat culture, but you have to admit, a lot of them come from that background. They start studios with their best guy friends. They build up these companies, and it's like a frat party that turned into a billion-dollar company and now has to think about how it's behaving. And that transition does not always go smoothly. I think that a lot of them are making some great changes, but it's not going to happen overnight. So we're going to go ahead and leave that there. And honestly, that's the end of the headlines. That's just about everything that we could find that really needed to be addressed. Some huge security flaws, some updates, some overblown headlines, but by and large, hey, I think it's been a pretty good day, and we hope that you are, I hope that you're doing well, and we can, of course, say thank you for tuning into Computer America. We'll be back tomorrow. We actually have an interview at 4 p.m. Eastern here on Computer America, and we recommend that you check that out. If not, the podcast, but always check out the live video portion. Let's see. So tomorrow we have another stream. We have headlines, maybe a special report. We'll find out more about that. ComputerAmerica.com. Straight up, that's just the best way to find out more about us. Until next time, everyone, have a great day. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.